So now we're going to start looking at how we can get these confidence intervals in terms of proportions instead, where it's actually not that different. Here we have this survey of people who use Facebook, where we have that 1,054 said that they do out of 1,550, and we're going to use this to generate a 95% confidence interval, where there's some stuff going on here that comes from the end of chapter 5 that you may have seen if you did the extra credit homework for that, but if you didn't, don't worry. Anyway, what we're going to do is go into the calculator, and let me scroll back up here to make sure I have the right numbers, because being careful here matters. We're going to hit Stat, Tests, and we're going to scroll down here until we get to the 1 proportion z interval. It's not really test, but construction. 1 prop zint, as it were. We don't really do much with proportions and t stuff because we get to use the normal distribution when we have appropriately large things, which here we have quite a lot of them. So in here, x is going to be the number of successes. That's 1,054, and n is the sample, 1,550, where in this case we want 95% confidence, where, as I said, this stuff is appropriately large enough. It's generally going to be, but in this case it's definitely much bigger than 5. But anyway, once we have these values in here, if we don't want to do this computation by hand, which we generally don't, just run it in the calculator, and we get our numbers. For another example here, we have this information about concentrations of benzene. I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to, but I suppose that makes a great deal to people who know more about benzene than I do. Anyway, it's nothing really different in terms of what goes in the calculator. We're going to go find that 1 prop z interval guy, our new friend in there, where the amount was seen on 71 days, so x, the number of successes, is 71, n, the number of trials, is 250, and we want a 90% confidence interval. So, running it in the calculator, we will get the desired window of proportions. So here's another example that's a little bit different in terms of what we're looking for here, because it doesn't give the value directly for the number of successes. It gives us the total number n and shows some proportions, where here we want to find the number who get their news from television. Well, to do that, we take the total number, 800, and multiply it by the proportion here, 0.27, which is 216. So we're going to go into the calculator, and we're going to plug that info in there. So we have our 1 proportion z interval. We have, let me just remind myself, 216, just to be sure. And that is our x value out of 800. And our confidence level here that we want is 99%, so we want to be very sure in this case. And as a result, scrolling down here just to check and make sure things go in there, we got our value up to rounding for this confidence interval.